last three FNMs, I've won 3 games out of a potential 12. But the cool thing is I am actually still getting complimented on the deck, and people are saying it's really hard to play against. It's starting to get hairy because I can almost eke out a win. I know I can do that taking the Zadas out and replacing it with either a Tarkus Command or Swill of Growths, but I like a Zada so much that I'm going to ride her till she rotates out, basically. I'm having too much fun with this card. This is the 4th iteration of this deck, and so far, it's behaving well. It's just in certain matchups, it's not. So I'm still trying to nail the sideboard down, and I think I got a pretty good one for all the Hangerback, Walker, and Token hate that I need. So we're going to start with our red cards first, as always, because the main bulk of the deck is red. We're going to start with 4 Lightning Berserkers. Great dash creature, great 1-cost creature, and basically, if I need an extra creature on the board, he can always come in. Or if I need a 1-drop on turn 1 and I don't have a Monastary Swiftspear, Lightning Berserker makes a great second choice or backup option. Also, we're running 4 Monastery Swiftspears, quite possibly the all-star in this deck. This card has won me most of the games when it's on the board and the Temur Battle Rage Become Immense combo happens. It just gets insane very quickly, especially with the Prowess triggers. That means instead of it just being a normal +6/+6, it's actually +8/+8. And add the 1 to the Monastery Swiftspear, and you're swinging for 18 damage. 4 copies of Dragon Fodder, which soon I might drop down to 3 maybe, but it's acting really well, and unfortunately the last FNM I played this deck with, that was all I was getting. It was either I was either only getting an Abbot of Keral Keep or Dragon Fodders, and the fact that I was still hanging out in most of these games with very little creatures is a testament to the power of Become Immense Temur Battle Rage. I can't count how many games I had with an almost empty board except for 2 tokens, and they were afraid of these 2 tokens like you wouldn't believe. 4 copies of Titan Strength. Once again, it's a great little combo card with Monastery Swiftspear. Turn 1 Swiftspear, turn 2 Titan Strength. You've already swung for 6 damage by turn 2. Great card. Also, Scry triggers help immensely in this deck, because at a certain point after like turn 3 or 4, I want to be hitting good cards. I want to be hitting the Become Immenses, or I want to be hitting my Temur Battle Rages, or land even, or more specifically fetch lands, and that's where the mana base gets fixed again a little bit. I need fuel for the Become Immense pile, and it was becoming readily apparent I wasn't getting enough of it with the 3rd iteration of this deck. Always 4 copies of Temur Battle Rage, one of the main parts of the combo, because we are playing an Atarka red shell. We're just not playing Atarka's Command in this deck, or some of the other cards that Atarka red plays, but instead we're using the Zada as a good point if we hit the mid to late game. A little bit newer addition to the deck. I was playing 2, but now I'm playing 4 copies of Wild Slash. Great creature removal, great damage to the face. I know Fiery Impulse is being played, and it's a great card, and it was in the sideboard in the 3rd iteration, and it may make its way back to the sideboard. The fact that it's a dual purpose card. I can either kill a creature or do enough damage to a creature to kill it, or hit you in the face with it. What I'm starting to realize with this deck is I can't have many Unitaskers, and that's just a card that does one thing and one thing only. That's why the Swell of Growths kind of got removed, because it was only unique in that one situation. That situation just wasn't coming up enough. Unitasking, that's why I don't have the Fiery Impulse in there. Is it a great card? Yeah, it is. It's a great card. It was in the sideboard for a while. I'd rather have that option of killing a creature or hitting you in the face. 3 copies still of Abbot of Keral Keep. I'm going to hopefully pursue another Abbot of Keral Keep. I'm starting to learn how to play him now. It's getting a little bit hairy, but if I get him on turn 2, I'm not playing him on turn 2 because there's no point. I'd like to have the open mana. I'd rather play him on turn 3 and not drop a land yet and hope that I either get a Titan Strength, or I get a Wild Slash, or more importantly, I get a land, and that'll be the land that I play for the turn. As always, 3 copies of Zada, the Herdron Grinder. People say that it's very disappointing that this card's not getting played enough. I know for a fact I am the only person at my LGS playing this card. And 2 copies of Hordeling Outburst. This might be the first card I cut in the next iteration. Dragon Fodders do fine, but Hordeling Outburst, man, is still a potent card. 3 mana, 2 red, I'm playing mainly red, so it's not that hard. 3 tokens. If you spread the board out, people get scared, especially when you're playing a Tarka red. If one of those guys get through, that's like 14 damage from a 1/1. Obviously, we're playing 4 Become Immenses. Part of the Temur Battle Rage, Become Immense combo, obviously. Biggest part of the reason of the success of a Tarka red. This card ends games quick. Newest addition to the deck, 3 Snapping Gnarlids. This has been getting play a lot in the Atarka Reds. If I can get it out turn 2 or early in the game, it's amazing. It also, anytime a land enters in, so if you get like an Evolving Wild or one of your fetch lands, that's 2 lands. He gets +2/+2. Because at first I was putting in Scythe Leopards, because it's a 1-drop, and I want to have cheap creatures in. But Snapping Gnarlid, just, it's an extra 1/1 for 2, so it makes more sense, and I can swing in for a lot more by turn 3 or turn 4, whereas Scythe Leopard, at most on a turn, unless I get lucky, I'm only swinging in for 3. Now we're going to get into a fixed mana base, so to speak. I didn't change too much of it, I just added 2 lands that might cause a little bit of, but it makes sense. We're playing 8 mountains. Flat out 8 mountains. Hey, we need more mountains than we need forests, simply put. We're playing 2 forests. We need at least a basic forest or 2 to come out on the field for the Snapping Gnarlids and the Become Immenses. Simple put. Playing 3 Cinderglades because these dual lands, man, in this set fixes mana perfectly, and I don't have to run 5 forests anymore and a bunch of fetches. I can fetch all the Tango lands that we're playing with any of the fetches in this deck. Speaking of fetches, we're playing 2 Evolving Wild. Now, why Evolving Wild? I don't have enough fetch lands yet. That's the next thing I'm going to be upgrading. We need fuel for the fire for Become Immense. I don't care if I'm taking 1 turn off or slowing myself down a turn, but until I can get all the fetches, I gotta play with what I got. Evolving Wilds, in lieu of not having full play sets of all the fetch lands that I'm playing, helps a little bit. Not a perfect solution, but also not that bad of a problem to have either. 4 Bloodstained Mires, because I completed this playset, because whenever I get into Modern, I'm taking baby steps into Modern, and Bloodstained Mires gets Mountains or Cinderglades. 1 Windswept Heath. I need at least 1 or 2 more. I don't know how I want to go about it. I might wind up buying that dual deck just to get the Windswept Heath and a couple other things in there as well. And 1 Wooded Foothills. The Wooded Foothills can get a forest or a mountain and a Cinderglade. And now we hit the sideboard. The sideboard is drastically different from the last time. We're going to start with, hey, it's already in there, 3 roasts. Roasts because Siege Rhino is still a thing. Sound like a broken record? Because I am. 5 damage to any creature on the ground. That's insane. That affects Siege Rhino. That affects Anafen's the Foremost, which is starting to make prominence in this format. One of the newer additions that I discovered, Arc Lightning. And I'm like, why Arc Lightning? It's not been played that much. Kills tokens, because you can deal 1 damage to 3 different creatures. Hangerback Walkers are a thing in this format as well. And once Siege Rhino rotates, it's going to be, well, I gotta deal with Hangerback Walker. So this card is literally dealing with tokens and Hangerback Walkers. 1 Rending Volley, because 4 damage to any white or blue creature, and it can't be countered. Cool. Sign me up, because Siege Rhino is a thing, and Offense of the Foremost is still a thing. Well, is becoming a thing now. 3 Aerial Volleys. I know, 3. It's the same as Arc Lightning, only affects flyers, but if you blow up a Hangerback Walker, those Thopter tokens, they fly. And Aerial Volley deals with them perfectly. 2 Plummet. Destroy any flying creature. Mantis Rider still hurts me. Still hurts me a lot. Any flying creature still hurts me. Butcher of the Horde is getting play again because of Mardu tokens, or it's just aristocrats. If I don't have an Aerial Volley or an Arc Lightning, and I draw into a Plummet, hey, that's a Thopter token that's going bye-bye. Jaddi Offshoot. This is the 1 green costing creature with Defender, 0/3, that it has Landfall. Whenever a land enters play, I gain 1 life. This is for the Mirror Match or Burn decks. I need to gain life to compensate for the fact that I'm going to be taking a little bit more damage quicker than I'm used to when I'm playing against a Burn deck. And Jaddi Offshoot definitely fits the bill. Alright guys, so that's my life with Zada episode 3, which should be episode 4 if I wasn't a moron and deleted episode 3 on accident on my phone. My bad. But so far I'm really liking the deck. I'm really adoring the playstyle of this deck. And seriously, if you aren't familiar with sequencing and whatnot, put a cheapy version of this deck together and play it out a bit. That's going to teach you how to sequence events in turns, how to sequence combat, how to sequence a lot of different things. And a cheap version of this deck won't be much because, you know, most of the money in this deck is fetch lands, Abbot of Keral Keep, Monastery Swiftspear. This is Dahmer's Cool Stuff, and as always, do good gaming, and may your top deck always be mythic.